All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome. So this is our review for the Chapter 3 test. Remember, what's going to happen is I'm basically going to take this review, remove the word review, and duplicate it. Okay, so everything that we're going to have in the test coming up looks just like it. First things first, number one, which equation? Determine for each equation, make sure it's linear. Remember, linear needs to be in the form of y equals mx plus b, or it could be ax plus by equals c. That's kind of where we're at this point. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you struggle, what you can do is also open Desmos open. All right, so on this, is this equation linear? This first one would be a yes. The next one here, is that one linear? Well, if I put into if you're struggling, you're like, I don't know if it is or not. You can go 4 and then x, and ladies and gentlemen, you can see that this is actually an exponent, so it is not a straight line. Negative 3x to the third I have up there, that is not a straight line. And the last one with x squared would not be a straight line. So once you're done with that, put the answers in, hit check. Or for you, it'll be submit, and you guys will move on. All right. Next, number 2, write an equation, okay, where it's ax plus by equals c. So what you guys have to make sure with this is understand that as you're going through the process here, is that you actually do the correct math. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it. It's y plus 6 equals, and then I'm just going to put the negative in distribution. So it's going to be negative 6x plus 24. All right, now the reason it's plus, remember, negative and negative is positive. And then you just simply solve out. So it's ax plus by equals c. So the y and the x need to be on the same side. So to make it on the same side, I have to add 6x. And then I got to get the c value, which is any number on the other side. So I subtract 6 from here. So when I end up, it would be 6x plus y equals 18. And then you go in and you would plot it out. Now tomorrow I will ask for some of you to show your work again. If you guys remember, as we walked through the setup, on the last test that we had, I made a spreadsheet with squares that I want you guys to actually show the work in. I want you to do the same thing again, okay? The main reason for that is for a lot of you, I'm going to tell you right now, you will miss some questions. And you will miss them because of stupid mistakes that you made. But if I can't tell what stupid mistake you made, then you're not going to get credit. A lot of students last time got partial credit for getting it right or wrong based upon their work that they showed. So it's very important that you do show your work. I cannot stress that enough. All right, next, number 3. Write the equation given the lines. There's 2 ways of doing this, ladies and gentlemen. The first one would be to take this equation, to be 4x, and split it up. Negative 2y equals, they both equal 12. All right, so there's one way of doing it. And then you would solve for x and y. So if I solve for x here, divide by 4, then x would be 3. And this one divided by negative 2, y equals negative 6. Another way of doing this would be to put it into actual Desmos. Okay, so up here, it's going to be 4x minus 2y, and it equals 12. All right, if I do that, on my points are what? 3, negative 6. Same way. Now, this might help you to graph it in Desmos so that you guys don't screw it up as you go through the process, because some of you in here did this part right today, but then when I asked you to draw it, you didn't draw it correctly. All right, you guys put the intersections on the wrong points. So make sure that as you guys do this, that you guys go from there. So my 3, we said x is 3, we said y is negative 6, and then said graph it. So as we graph it here, get the graphing point. All right, I'm supposed to go at 3, and I would copy that graph. So it'd be at 3 and negative 6. Now, one thing to make sure is that there are little tick marks. Ignore the tick marks, okay? The ones in between. That's like 3.5. Some of you are going 4, 5 right here. That's not right, okay? Look at the grid and match up the grid. 6, 7, 8. You can see it's every other. Please make sure that as you guys do this, make sure we get the right answer, that you actually do that part correctly too. Because some of you, ladies and gentlemen, were doing it wrong. Okay, same thing. Next, graph the line y equals 8. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I know this. If you struggle, you can go on here and you can put y equals what? 8. Ooh, horizontal line at 8, okay? It's not that hard. 8, and then you put another point on the 8 line to graph it. You go from there. All right, next, 5. As you go through, solve the equation by graphing. Now, some of you may look at this and say, what the? Now, you can't do this on AZ Merit, okay, because they've eliminated this function. But technically speaking, what you can do is go in here and go -5 equals 4, because if it says do it by graphing, what should you do? Put it in a Desmos as a graph. When it creates it, here's the line. So my line actually goes through the point 3, 0. So I come over here, do my point at 3, 0, and put another line up there, and my solution is x equals 3. Pretty simple. Then you hit check, and I got it right again. You move on, okay? It's a simple process. Just put it in the Desmos and copy what you see. Please don't overthink it. All right, next is whether something is linear, a function. So all you're doing is you're telling me what the change in x is versus the change in y. So let's look at the first one. 4 to 7. 4 plus 7 is, or 4 plus 3 is 7. Plus 3 would be 10. Plus 3 would be 13. If you subtract 1 from each one of these, ladies and gentlemen, the number would grow exponentially. If it has the same rate of change, it is linear. The next one, and by the way, this is the first time I'm looking at all of these questions. I am not duplicating or redoing this video. I did make a mistake earlier, but who cares? All right, so let's look at the change in y. We'll just start with y. 3 plus 1 is 4. So if it's a plus 1, then it needs to be plus 1 again, and this should be 5. It's not, so that's not linear. Change here. Add 1, add 1, add 1. Look at this one here. You'd add 4. So -1 plus 4 is actually 3. Add 4 again, add 4 again. That's the same, it'd be linear. This is a straight line. If it's all y is straight, that of course is going to be linear. Check it, and I'm good to go. Now, you guys, hopefully there will be partial credit, because there are technically 4 answers on here. And so since there are 4 answers and I gave you 20 questions, that's actually even more that you could miss. Okay, so just to let you guys know. All right, slope. Find the slope using the following points. Now on this, and I'm going to draw over the top of this one this time. On this one, ladies and gentlemen, remember, you're using the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I told you to set it up like that, where it's a minus minus. Sorry for the little weird tick. All right, so first point would be 8 over 3. Easy enough. The second point is a -7. So it's going to be the y is -7 and it's over 7. Okay, remember, if it's negative and a negative, this turns into 8 plus 7 over 3 minus 7. So this would be 15 over what? -4. There's your answer, okay? It's not too difficult. So 15 over -4. Make sure you guys do the proper setup. I wonder if this will work because of the negatives in the wrong spot. Hey, it is, okay? So make sure it says here that it's right, but the alternative answer would be put the negative on the outside because I just threw it in there because I didn't really care. All right, number 7. As you move along, same thing. Slope passes through a line. Here are the points. I'll write this one down on the board. So remember, it starts off minus, minus like this. First point, I'm going to go with -3 over -4. And then the other one would be -9 over 8. Negative is going to be +9 over -4 minus 8. Then you set this up. This would be a 6 over 8 and 4 is a -12. So this is going to be -1/2. All right, hopefully you guys understand how fast I'm doing this math. If you do not, please make sure that you come see me or that you stop the video, start it over, and watch it repeatedly, okay? Because I know I'm going fast because there's 20 questions and I don't want to have to basically be here all night or make this a half-hour long video. All right, next. Each line, what is the slope? This is relatively simple. Going uphill, positive speaking, left to right. That's a positive slope, okay? Vertical line is undefined. This is negative, ladies and gentlemen, because it's going downhill. And the last, but certainly not least, horizontal line, the slope would be 0, okay? If you struggle with that, please get it right, all right? Understand what you're doing, because once again, that's another partial credit. So that's 4 more answers. So that's like out of 28. All right, owners of a recreation area are adding water to a pond. The graph below shows how much time for every hour that they add. So the question becomes, ladies and gentlemen, how much does the amount of water increase for each hour? Well, if you guys look, what are your intersections? So my first intersection is at 0, 100. So it started with 100 liters in the first, the pond started with 100 liters. And then as you read, after 1 hour, there was 400 liters. So if you go from 400 to 100, the obvious answer here should be 300. Now, it asks for the slope. The slope of this line, ladies and gentlemen, would be 300 over 1. But take a guess what it wants you to do in ALEKS. Is just put in the regular number, 300. Do not put in the number over 1, all right? Sweet, got it right. Read the word problem, move on. After crossing a bridge, Goran drives at a constant speed. The graph shows how fast he was going once he crossed the bridge, a constant rate. How much does the distance increase for each hour? So if you guys look, he went from 0 after 1 hour up to 40. So of course, he would go with 40 miles. And then take a wild guess what the slope is. 40 over 1, so you could just put 40. Hopefully you guys understand the process of this, okay? Look at the rate of change. Understand what you guys are doing. Please don't overthink it, okay, as you guys hit this setup. Next question, and what question are we on right now? I'm on, so I've got 10, 12, I'm on question 12. All right, sweet. Okay, as you guys go through here, now it says write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line with the slope 4 and y-intercept of -5. Okay, so remember it needs to be y equals. And then it's the slope, which is m, so it's 4x. Please don't forget the x. The y-intercept is -5. There we go. Now it says to graph it. Okay, so I know that my first point is at -5. So there it is. And then my slope is positive. So it's going up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 1. Bam, right there. Here's where I would suggest you guys get a mouse at home and bring it in if you don't have one, because it will be a little difficult sometimes for you guys, or you're gonna have to blow your screen up a little bigger to make sure that you actually get on these tiny little points, okay? If you struggle with it, it's easier, and I'll recommend when we go through Galileo testing or the midterm, bring in a mouse, okay? If you bring in something, it'll help you, all right? Trust me. Write a slope form equation with this. So my equation needs to be y equals. My slope is -7, and then it's an x minus, not minus, that's a +8. Okay, so same setup. Now I got an equation at +8. Now I'm going down 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over 1. And there's my slope there. Let's check it. And that's your setup, okay? Hopefully you guys understand. It's not difficult. Just make sure you do the order of operations and pick the right way of going about. All right, solve the equation, once again, by doing what? Graphing. Okay, so you go into graphing over here, and you go -2x plus 2 equals 6, okay? It's going to be, -6. Once again, it's going to be a vertical line. And my answer is 4, okay? So make sure as you guys go through this, I'm putting a dot at 4, and I put another dot here at 4, because that's what my x-intercept is. Check the answer, and it's good to go. Please don't overthink things, okay? It's not that difficult. If you overthink things, then ladies and gentlemen, it will become a problem. All right, solve the equation by graphing. Once again, I made sure I put in a couple of these that are simple for you guys. I don't want to make this too hard. I want to make sure you understand the process of using Desmos, because as we take the midterm, it's very important. Same setup, all right? Graph it, take a wild guess what your intersections are. It's at 3, so once again, put a couple of dots on there, and then my x-intercept is at 3. Easy enough. These should be easy A's for you. Make sure if you guys start missing these that we have to have a serious conversation about why you are missing something like that. All right, solve this one by graphing. All right, as we go through, make sure you guys understand that when the simple setups are, all right, same thing, put the same equation in. So my setup here is going to be 2x. The reason you may ask yourself, Mr. Stiger, why did you put so many of these in here that look like the same thing? It's because I want to make sure you understand what it looks like to solve these on Desmos, okay? I'm not trying to make sure that you guys are failing. What I'm trying to make sure is that when it comes time for a standardized test, and I'm asking you guys to do this, that you can physically do this setup. That you can plug these into Desmos and you can get the right answer and you understand what you're doing when you get the answer, okay? It's as simple as that. All right, find the slope and the y-intercept of the line. Two ways of solving this. First, you could rewrite it, okay? So if I rewrote this equation, so let me rewrite it first. All right, if I rewrote this, it would be 9x plus 3y equals negative 3. And I need to get it in the form of y equals mx plus b. Okay, so rewrite it. The x is going to go on the other side. So negative 9x, negative 9x. You have 3y equals negative 9x minus 3. And then you would divide by 3 on both sides. Everything like that. You'd have y equals negative 3x minus 1. There's your answer. If you're struggling with this, please let me know. All right, here's another setup. So let's see if I can show you guys if I were to put that in here. Okay, I could also actually go like this. 9x plus 3y equals negative 3. And I told you guys, some of you, the main reason we're doing this so that you understand what your setup is. Did I put that in right? Ooh, I did. Okay, so understand that when I graph this, find the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, so my y-intercept is negative 1. And if I go here and look at this, I got negative 1. And then what is my slope? Well, if I'm looking at this graph, I'm going to go here's 1 and here's another intersection. So I go down, 1, 2, 3, down, 1 over. My slope is negative 3. If you can graph it in Desmos and interpret a graph, you don't necessarily have to solve it. Go either way. Just make sure that no matter what you do, ladies and gentlemen, is that you take your time and that you try to make sure that you get all of the proper terms lined up, that you do your math correctly, and that, ladies and gentlemen, in the long run, when you do that, you'll be successful. Okay? That's a key reality that you guys need to understand. Is that there are two ways sometimes to solve a problem. Either do it by hand or use Desmos. There's a reason I want you to. Now, I understand you guys need to learn the principles and philosophy sometimes of how to actually do the work. But when we're taking a test, I want to make sure you get it done and get it done correctly. So go between both Desmos and the other factions of it. All right, so let's graph this one first this time. So this is 7x minus 4y equals negative 8, okay? So here's my equation. There's my x-intercept. I really don't care about my y at this point. Now I will say, it looks like there's not a solid line for a number until right there at 4, 9. Okay, so 4, 9 looks like it. So if 4, 9 is the slope, that's up 9 over 4. Let's see if we get that. So let's remember that. So I got up 9 over 4. Let's see if I get that right. All right, so let's do the math on it instead. All right, so as we do the math, let me delete this. Okay, we would rewrite it. So it's 7x minus 4y equals negative 8. All right, subtract 7x, because you want to make it 0 on this side. That's 0. Negative 4y equals negative 7x minus 8. And then, ladies and gentlemen, what you would do at that point is divide everything by negative 4. And then when you do that, these cancel out. It's y equals. And then that is going to be negative, and a negative is positive. So I said 9/4. So I must have misread. Oh, it's because it's not from 0. It's actually from 2. So if I count it up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is 7 over 4. Some of you would have probably made the same mistake as me. Whoops, and then it is an x. 2, that's what I got. Okay, so when you guys go through this setup here, make sure you understand that when you get into the slope, it is going to be 7 divided by 4, and the other y-intercept is going to be 2. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Okay, it's a simple solution. Just make sure you guys don't overthink it and solve it and set it up. A couple more. All right, here's the word problems. All right, Teresa tutors history. For each hour that she tutors, she earns $20. Let E be the earnings in dollars and after tutoring for each hours. So her equation is going to be E, and it's going to equal, because that's her earnings, 20. She's making $20 per what? Hour. Simple equation, not hard. That's it. Okay. Then her earnings for 17 hours. Basically, we want to go, what is, and you can do this in decimals, what is 20 times 17? 340. Okay, so she made $340. Oh, whoops, I forgot. I'm like, why do I keep doing it? All right, correct, yay. Make sure you guys get this. All right, one more basic one. The sugar sweet company is going to transport its sugar to the market. It will cost $5,500 to rent trucks. Okay, and it will cost, and so let's go 5,500. So let me write that down up here. 5,500. It'll cost an additional $125 for each ton of sugar that is transported. Let C be the total cost and S the amount of sugar. So your equation needs to be the total cost, which is C equals, and then it would be in the form of Y equals mx plus B. So we know it's going to be 125x, but it's not x, it's actually what? S. And then it's going to be plus 5500. All right, and then it says, what is the transportation for 13 tons? Well, you could go into decimals and type it up. So it'd be 125 times 13, which would be 1625 plus my original cost. And ladies and gentlemen, there's your answer. 7125. So let's make sure we got it. 7125 is my answer. Ooh, and I got it right, okay? It's funny they say it's right, but my equation could be confusing because of the upper and lowercase letters. Ooh. Okay, so make sure if you guys are going through it that you would do that. And it looks like, is that it? Am I done? That was it. If you have any questions, watch the review again. Come see me in class. Look over it. Most of you, once you get beyond a certain point, should understand how you can get through and get quickly. All right, we'll start taking the test on Thursday. If you struggle, let me know. Focus, study up, and good luck to everybody. My goal is for everybody to get a very high grade on this test to set you up before we take our midterm in a couple weeks before fall break. It's been a pleasure. Have a great night or day, and I'll see you soon.